Hey, hi. Welcome to This Reader's Life, Books and Blessings. This is Stephanie, and I'm so glad that you've stopped by. If you've been here before, welcome. If you've never been here, no, welcome back. If you've never been here before, welcome. And today, this is my weekly wrap-up for, what will it be? It'll be on March 15th. Today's the 14th, but I will post this for tomorrow. And this week, I actually finished 3 books, and I'm in the middle of 2 books, and I'll talk about the 2 that I'm in the middle of, or that I've started just briefly. But as far as the ones that I completed, there were 3 different genres that I read in this week. One was children's fantasy. One was definitely mystery, kind of not a police procedural, but it kind of had that feel to it. It's much more character driven probably than most police procedurals. And the other one that I read was epistolary, and it is, I really enjoyed it. So it's a diary or journal. So, this one might be a little quick today. I'm so excited to go outside. It's supposed to be 70 degrees today, which is thrilling in Kansas for March. And then but it's not going to last. There may be snow tomorrow, is what I've heard. And I'm going to try to go out and get some pictures of my daffodils that have not quite bloomed, because I'm afraid they're not going to make it. Monday, it's only supposed to be 29 degrees, so we'll see what happens to them. But I at least want a picture to remind myself how close we are to spring, and for spring staying, which is the nice point. So anyway, the first book that I read that I'm going to talk about is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis, which it's just a beloved children's fantasy story that I never read as a child. It was published in 1950, so it had been around a while, but I just never picked it up. I was not I didn't love fantasy, and I did enjoy this book. C.S. Lewis is a favorite writer of mine anyway, although he's very, very dense and hard to understand. His children's books, of course, are not at all hard to understand, and they're sort of a mirror or allegory tales that mirror Christianity and the tenets of Christianity, the good, the evil. So, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is about 4 young children who are sent during World War II to live with it's either their uncle or their grandfather. I think it's their grandfather. But they are in a great big house in the country, and at one point, one of these 4 children, the children are Peter, Edmund, Nancy, and Lucy. And Lucy is the youngest, and she goes inside to hide in a wardrobe in a room that is mostly empty. And she discovers that at the back of the wardrobe, she's just able to walk right on through to a place that's covered in snow that is, but that it's a real place. There's a lamppost. She meets someone when she's there, and she spends time with them. She becomes friends with this, he's like an elf. I think they call him a faun, F-A-U-N. And so when she comes back, she tells, of course, her older brothers and sisters, and they don't necessarily believe her. They kind of just go along with her and tell her, it couldn't really be true because you were only gone for a few seconds and you probably just fell asleep and had a dream. And she's quite determined for them to know. And then one of the other children goes into the wardrobe, and I believe it's Edmund, and while he's there, he meets the White Witch, or the White Queen, who acts very kind to him and allows him to have whatever kind of dessert he might like. And he chooses Turkish delight, and she allows him to eat so much that there are no rules with her when he meets her. And but however, he does realize that eating too much Turkish delight made him feel really awful. And so she is kind of going to be the picture of evil. over time, all four of the children go into Narnia together through the wardrobe. And once they're all there in Narnia, they remain in Narnia. And they have several adventures with several different kinds of characters. There's Mr. and Mrs. Beaver. There is the White Queen returns. There's going to be Father Christmas. There's another character that they meet up with is Aslan, the lion. And Aslan is symbolic probably for Christ is what I'm seeing. And he's very sacrificial. He's very protective. He is to be feared and he is to be loved. So that is that's one of the characters that certainly reflect Christian themes for sure in the story. The White Queen, she represents Satan. There are other the Father Christmas represents everything that is good. And so there's definitely lessons in this, and I think it's wonderful for children. I'm a little surprised by the amount of violence that is in it. I mean, there's blood, there's death, there's some rough things in it. All of it is, at one point, the author, C.S. Lewis, even goes to the trouble to say, if you're feeling a little concerned right now, and reassures children that it's okay to keep going, that it'll be worth it in the end. So I enjoyed that a great deal. I really liked it. The next, and again, that was C.S. Lewis, and I do plan to read the rest of the Chronicles of Narnia. I'm not in a huge rush to read them, but I do want to read all of them. They're easy reads, and I'm curious to see where it goes from here. So the next book that I read was a mystery. It was sort of a contemporary, sort of a detective-like novel, but it had much more. It was more character-driven, I would say, and it was. Although it's a good story, and I enjoyed it. The book is by William Kent Kruger, and it is called Iron Lake. William Kent Kruger wrote. He wrote Ordinary Grace, and he also. This is the first in his series that he wrote. And the main character's name is Cork, or Corcoran. He's part Irish and part Native American. I believe it's Ojibwe, which is also Canadian. And another part of another tribe that I cannot pronounce. I apologize. But so this takes place in Minnesota. A judge is found murdered by a young boy finds the judge murdered, or it appears to be possibly suicide, and that's sort of where the story takes off. And the boy disappears. The young boy who was delivering papers disappears. The judge there's a question as to whether or not he committed suicide or was murdered. Cork in this story is the former sheriff of this town in Minnesota, and the current sheriff and he are not particularly close friends. He lost his position, his elected position as sheriff, due to to sort of a tragedy that was involved the Bureau of Indian Affairs and the townspeople. And it started out as an argument over, I think, water rights. But anyway, someone was killed. They blamed Cork, the sheriff, and so he lost his position. However, once a detective, always a detective, and so he sort of starts to question this murder, and the story goes on from there. He is divorced. He has a girlfriend named Molly. He has a not yet ex-wife named Jo, who figures prominently in the story. I enjoyed the story. It has a satisfying ending. I hate it when a mystery, doesn't make sense, or when all the easy way out is taken, and that's frustrating to me. This is one that does keep you guessing. It does all of the characters, or many of the characters, have redeeming qualities, which matters to me. For someone who is careful about what they read as far as clean fiction goes, it might not be the right book. I did not have a problem with what was in this. I would not call it spice. There, I would, and I wouldn't call it gratuitous, but there were definitely descriptions of a prelude to relationships that were fairly graphic, but not any graphic relationships. There's definitely violence. There's definitely some pretty harsh words in it, hard words. The big hard words, I would say, but not gratuitous and not constant. It was very occasional and seemed to sort of fit with the emotion. But I liked this book. This is the first of a series of, I do not know how many, but I think there's easily more than 14 or 15. I picked up 4 of the books at a thrift store recently, and then I checked out Iron Lake from the library, so I don't have it at this point. But like I said, I enjoyed it. I'm going to read a couple more of them. I don't know that they're going to be something that I'm going to read the whole series. I don't know. There are other authors that I like a lot too that write mystery, so we'll see. So the third book that I read was epistolary. It was a journal, and I didn't read it. I listened to it on Audible, and I'm glad that I did. I thought it was so enjoyable and so well done. And that book is, I want to say it right, it's the Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon, book or Journal 1 or Book 1. And Emma M. Lyon is a delightful character who has come home to her home that she owns in, I cannot think of the name of the town, but she has come home. She does not have control of her home. She's too young. She hasn't turned, I think she has to be 21 before it becomes her own. And it's being run and sort of run into the ground by a relative who she detests and who apparently she mentioned several times something called the incident of the scar. And by the end of the book, the reading, that you do know who has the scar and why, and but otherwise the book feels like it's a setup for what's going to happen with Emma over the next few years. She has a past possible, you can't be sure, romance with a gentleman named Maxwell who has passed away. She has a few friends. She she had been with her Aunt Mathilde, I think her name is, and her cousin Annabella, and she was supposed to have been paid. She was a companion for her aunt, and she has not been paid because her aunt insists that she stole the silver. It's delightful. The whole thing is delightful, and I've enjoyed it so far so much. It's written by Beth Brower, and I read a little bit about Beth Brower on her website, and she's very interesting. I was surprised by that too. She talks about how she came to write these books, this whole series, and she says she knows everything about it already, kind of like Harry Potter, but the author J.K. Rowling, who wrote that. Anyway, I enjoyed it a lot. And so those are the 3 that I completed. The 2 that I'm reading right now are fiercely different as well. One of them is Lincoln in the Bardo, and it's written by George Saunders. It is the most unusual book, I think. I've never read a book that was written the way this book is written. I'm not going to say a whole lot about it because I haven't finished it yet. It's part of my book club pick for, there's 3 of us, and one of us is famous for picking a book that the other 2 of us just look at her and say, we don't think we want to read this. And then we read it, and we usually like it. So that's kind of interesting. But Lincoln in the Bardo, it is about Abraham Lincoln. The Bardo is where, in this book, people who have passed away go, sort of like a purgatory, while they're waiting to find out what their next life will be, more or less, which is not the same as purgatory, but this is more, has more of a Hindu or Buddhist definition to it, and I'll explain more about it later. But Willie, Lincoln's son, is in the Bardo, along with many, many, many other characters who are talking about Willie, who has just joined them. And Lincoln comes to visit after after the funeral. He comes to the graveyard, and I believe it's a mausoleum that he's going into, but he comes to visit. And that's what this story is about. Like I said, it's very experimental. The ghosts or the bodies that are waiting to find out where they're going next are comical. They are a little disgusting. They are different. It's very, very interesting. It's very interesting to read. I honestly don't know exactly what to say. When I'm finished with it, I will talk just a little bit more about it, let you know if I think it was worth it. But I am enjoying it. The other one that I'm reading is, I'm reading, well, first of all, I pulled it out of my blessings jar. So I knew that I was going to try to get it read. And then it is it's about domestic abuse and a woman in Ireland. So there's March is, of course, the Irish readathon, or yeah, right, Irish readathon. So that counts towards that. This is a woman in Ireland. The name of the book is Nesting. The author is, and I do not know how to pronounce her name, but it's Roisin O'Donnell. I'm sorry. It is Rosine O'Donnell, and I'm enjoying it. I've just started reading it, so I'm not 100% sure exactly how it's going to go, but I can already feel that undertone of just a woman who is very, very, well, she's certainly under her husband's thumb from the very, very, almost from the first sentence, something is not quite right. So I'm looking forward to reading that. I think it will, it's definitely Women's History, and March is Women's History Month, so that satisfies that. Those are the two that I'm reading right now. I do have a couple of other things planned for March. There's middle grade, which I want to read a couple of those and maybe bring up some older ones that haven't been popularized for a long time and that I think are so worth the read. I also have a friend who has written a book and published it that is a middle grade type of book, and it's a ghost story, and I'm looking forward to talking about that one. So middle grade I definitely want to do. I have a tag that I still need to do, plus my other to be reads, and then when I'm not doing that, you can find me in my garden. So until then, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, be kind to the planet, and have a blessed day. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.